Greetings, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in and welcome to another edition of Female Barber Talk with Yah-Tay. Tonight is going to be a very interesting episode. I decided to take a little break from the Think Like a Barber series that I'm doing and do something a little different. I don't know if it's just how I'm feeling, what's been happening. Greetings, Ladosha. Thank you for joining. What's been happening, what's taking place. But I got to tell y'all, it might be, I'm just going to chat with y'all tonight. But tonight's episode is so graciously titled, If I Knew Then What I Know Now, the Lessons That Changed Everything. And of course, I have some points. I'm going to share some examples, also share with you all some stuff from my heart. If you viewed my stories, then you'll be familiar with something that happened yesterday. But nonetheless, I'll talk a little bit about that because I don't have to get cut off by the Instagram time. But anywho, so let's get into it. Every barber has a story, not just the success stories we post online, but the lessons, the mistakes, the challenges, and unexpected moments that shape us along the way. And we've all had them. I've had them. And we're going to have them as long as we're on this side. Some lessons come from amazing mentors. Others come from difficult clients, bad decisions, missed opportunities, or simply learning through experience. And I got to share with that last part there, y'all, I do my best to try to learn through not just my experiences, but looking at others and observing what they've experienced or gone through and kind of saying, okay, if I do this, that, or the other, this could possibly happen to me as well. So I do try to observe. I'm very observant, I'll say that much. I see things people don't think I see, and not just in speaking, but in body language and facial expression, just the whole person. So I not only see with my eyes, but I see and hear with my ears. So thank you. So if you're tuning in, welcome. Today I'm gonna be sharing a few lessons that changed how I worked, how I serve my clients, build relationships, and view success, especially in terms of success, the American dream, all of those things, especially here within the last year, 13, 14 months since I lost my father. Many of you know, if you've been joining and tuning in, you all know that I lost my father last year in May the 3rd to be exact, of 2025. So since his transition, it's drummed up the things surrounding my mom's transition, mainly because I was much younger. But anyway, in saying how I view success, my dad's transition had a lot to do with it in terms of just bringing some things to the forefront. So tonight's episode is really about lessons and things that changed everything. And also, so whether you're a barber, you're a stylist, you're a braider, you're a loctician, you're a master hair care entrepreneur, or simply someone who's navigating your own journey, these lessons might save you. They just might save you some time, frustrations, unnecessary detours. So let's kind of dive in. I got 4 points. I got put up 8. I have 4 points that I'm going to share. Like I said, some examples. We're going to talk about some things. And like I mentioned, I woke up. I have the next series for the Think Like a Barber series. Kind of got it all mapped out. But I just felt like just sharing, just coming on. Sometimes you gotta, you know, kind of go with the flow, and that's how I felt today. So the first point that I want to share with you all here is, I'm going to put it up. Y'all know me. I got to have visuals and things of that nature. Put it up. The first point, talent gets attention, but character builds career. So matter what career field you're in, what your chosen thing that you like to do, talent will get you attention. It'll get you indoors. It'll get you, you know, maybe even before people, but it's your character that's going to build the career. That's going to build sustainability. That's going to keep you in whatever position that you are in. So in talking about this, many of us, we enter this industry, we focus heavily on skills, which is part of it. Very much so, especially in the barbering and beauty industry. I'm not talking about any other industry at this point, though I've worked in many. We focus on those skills because those skills is what's going to elevate us in terms of building our clientele, building our reputation, building who we are, and establishing who we are in our particular field. So if we choose to specialize. So, but nonetheless, we focus heavily on the skills. We want the cleanest fades. I did, even though I couldn't fade in the beginning, but it's something that I learned and I worked at. So I had to build that skill, build that muscle memory. The sharpest lines, and I would hear the guys talk about it all the time in the barbershop. The best fade, the dopest fade, the crispiest lines, and the most creative styles. But over time, we begin to realize not only something that's important, but what's more important, and that's your character, who you are behind the chair, outside of the barbershop, inside of the barbershop. You know, when you're interacting with clients, when you're interacting with your peers, a combination of the both, all of them. People often say, stay because of who you are, not just what you do. So ultimately, the character will shine through, even with the skills. And I bring that up because I have this one client, and this has happened this week. Well, last week, because we're in a new week. So I always have a habit of thanking my clients because they support me. They help me to do what I do, both personally and professionally, take care of myself personally, because this is what I do. This is how I make my living. But nonetheless, one of my clients, speaking of this, in terms of skill and character and all of those things, but I cut a gentleman that I've been working with, who's been with me since the beginning. And he told me, he said, you know, I guess our schedules were crossing up, and I had some things going on. Hey, Yah-Tay, thank you for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for joining. So our schedules, our times weren't just coinciding. I'll say that. So he ended up going to someone else, and I don't mind. I don't mind when I approach someone, or I compliment them on their hair, and the conversation goes into, if you need a backup barber stylist, here's my card. And I don't worry about being number one from that perspective. I nurture my clients. I nurture my relationships. I check in with them, all of those things. So I'm not too concerned about that. If you follow my stories, and I talked about this too. But anyway, he went to someone else. So when he came to me, and I was, picking out his hair, looking at it, and, just doing my initial evaluation, and I was like, whoa, we got a little bit, more on this side. So he opened up and told me he went to someone else, and he turned around and looked at me. He was like, Miss Yah-Tay, if I can't get in with you, I'm just gonna have to wait. I'm just gonna have to wait. And I was like, he was like, because you do it just so perfect, and perfect according to his head shape, perfect according to his likes, because you'll find flaws in any haircut. Okay, you'll find flaws in it. But nonetheless, he shared that with me, and I'm like, wow. But this is one client that has grown with me since the beginning. When my lines weren't so blended, when my lines weren't so faded out. But he shared that with me, and I was like, wow. So returning those phone calls, answering those texts, being transparent with the clients, showing up, and that communication aspect. So when we talk about talent gets attention and character builds career, we're talking about being disciplined, being respectful, our communication, and also our integrity goes a long way. So treating every client with respect, I'm big on that. Whether it's my youngest, Savannah, who's 3, or my oldest, Mr. Williams, who's 102. So it's about respecting them and honoring them and following through on commitments that I've made or we've talked about. So with this first point, I think about I want you to think about professionals that you trust. For me, my doctor, my banker, my barber. So let me rewind on this here barber thing. So I share with you all that I have a barber, even as a professional. Now I know how to cut my hair, Brandy, because she would always tell me, you got to learn how to cut your hair. And I'm like, why? I got you. I don't need to know how to cut my hair. But I got what she was saying, and I understood it. Because when we don't have time to, go see each other, she comes see me for her lock maintenance or vice versa. We got to make it do what it do. So in that, Brandy cut my hair before I left to go to Premier Orlando. I got so many compliments on my cut. On the way down, on the way back, while we were there, till I was calling her saying, Brandy, I got to tell you this. Man, the cut that you did, and she did a little something different in the back of my head back here. She faded out the top, tapered it out, and then left a little bit of hair back here where it blends into the bottom side of my mohawk. She's always doing something a little different, which is cool. But I told her about that. So what I'm sharing in reference to this is I have a professional. So in thinking about the professionals that you trust, I trust my barber. And I'm glad she see it now that I need a barber too. So even as a professional, I go see a professional. I'll shape it up and do all of that. But in terms of getting in and cutting it up, I go see Brandy, AKA Lady Faded. So my question to my audience for this first point is, what character traits have helped you most in your personal and professional life? So we talked about discipline, or being dependable. We talked about being respectful, and then your communication, and being having integrity and being integral. So that's a question that I have for you. So for point 1, talent gets attention, but character builds career. Yeah, it really does. So from that perspective, you want to ensure that your character attached to your talent is going to take you a long way. All right. Let's see what we got here. We got some comments. Hey, oh, that's WK saying, hey, LaDosha. Thank you all for joining. I greatly appreciate it. So my second point here, and I'm going to try not to be before y'all too long here. My second point, is that the second one? Okay. The second point is people remember the experience long after the service. They remember the experience long after the service. So what are you talking about here, Yah-Tay? What are you talking about? Hold on, let me get my other one because y'all know I can't, that's a little too small for me. So and people remembering the service long after the people remember the experience long after the service. Clients may forget the exact haircut. They might even forget about a mistake you did with the head, okay? Because I've done it. They may even forget the style. You always ask my clients, what are we doing today? You know, I can't just automatically assume that you're going to get the same thing as last time. But that's my way of checking in. But they rarely forget how they felt, how you make them feel. What is their experience in the chair with you? Whatever it is that you do where you interact with your client. So experience matters, communication matters, trust matters with that. So speaking of service, a child who finally feels comfortable getting a haircut. I want to speak on this, especially with my children who have sensory sensibilities, who are neurodivergent, or have some type of autism. They're on the spectrum from one end or the other. But nonetheless, when they finally feel comfortable with you, I have a few kids, when their parents tell them, we're going to see Yah-Tay this week or next week, or setting them up. Hey, Sandra, thank you for joining. Greatly appreciate it. Welcome to tonight's podcast episode. We're talking about if I knew then what I know now, the lessons that change everything. So I'm sharing these lessons and also sharing some points so that our younger barbers and stylists out there can take something from this as well. So as I was speaking about children who finally feel comfortable getting a haircut, it means a lot. So I was sharing that when my parents tell their children that they're coming to see me, the excitement, like one of my kids came last week for a cut, and I actually posted a picture of it. If you go to my social media page, you will see a picture of him. I'm going to see if I can find it and pull it up from my phone. But nonetheless, his dad told him he was coming to see me, and he was so excited, so excited. And I was actually excited too, because having gone to Premier Orlando, I got some new clippers from Andes. Andes has partnered with, if you watch my podcast, episode number 73, I talked about it. But anywho, I got some new clippers. The program that I got trained under, Sensory Safe Solutions with Kate Owens, have partnered with Andes. They've developed a clipper. And I know y'all have heard me say, man, somebody need to come up with a clipper that don't make a whole lot of noise. Anywho, it was some years in the making. They partnered with them. They released their first clipper that doesn't make a lot of noise. So I was excited to share the news with them. Let him turn it on. While I'm speaking on this, I'm going to share this message to myself, image to myself, so that I can share it with you all. But yes, hold up, y'all. Give me a second. Give me a second. I took a picture with him. Of course, I asked Dad if I could take the picture and also post it. So I'm very mindful of things such as that, because I want to be respectful of my kids and their parents. So they gave the okay, and I posted in reference to that. Y'all give me a second while I pull it up real quick, because I want to show y'all my little buddy, Jason. Oh, come on. Here we go. Why we always got to do this? All right. I'm in. Oh boy, 9 centimeter cold. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I got to get the code. I got to get the code. I appreciate y'all bearing with me. Yes, this is me. Allow. Thank you. Here we go. Here we go. And they still send a code. Oh, Lord. And I still got to put the code in. Y'all hold on for me, because I want to put this up. All right. So Mr. Jason and his parents, now is asking me, well, that's the nature of security, y'all. You always got something going on. So best to be safe than sorry. Okay. Hold up. Let's pull this up. So with Jason, I brought him in. I shared with him the Clippers, let him turn them on. I allowed his, let his dad turn them on and everything. So it was a really great experience for me. Hold on, I got too much going on up here. Thank y'all for your patience. Yeah, one day I'm gonna have a crew that I can they'll set this up for me. I won't have to worry about it. Oh Lord, here we go. Why is it doing this, y'all? Please forgive me. So it's sending me another one. Hold on, y'all. Oh boy. I gotta turn this off. Well, all right, there we go. I got him now. Hold on, y'all. Let's download him. But I was smiling so hard, and he was smiling so hard. I'm just like, wow. So let me grab this real quick so y'all can see my buddy Jason. So here's an image of Jason and I. He's holding the Clippers. I think I was more excited than he was. But nonetheless, let me see here. Wike says, this one is usually a Ghanaian print. I think my mom has something similar. Oh, okay. I guess y'all are having conversation. I am admiring it also. All righty. Oh, all good. Thank you for your time, Yah-Tay. Oh, no problem. I must have missed something. Yah-Tay, a bit off topic, but I love that top you're wearing. I see you love African prints. I do. I absolutely do. I love us. I really do. And every chance I get, I try to exude the pride that I have in our people and in our culture as well. So let me get back to point 2. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I was actually going to put on something different, but then I felt this pattern. So I figured I'd do that one. So let me get back to the point. So when a child who finally feels comfortable getting a haircut. So let me tell y'all about Jason. Let me put his picture back up. When Jason first came to me, he had long hair and his parents wanted to have his hair braided. After understanding his who he is, his diagnosis, and, you know, communicating with both parents. So the first time, and he had really, really long hair. So the first time I did it, and he sleeps on the back. So at that time, you know, most kids, when they sleep on the back, they tend to rub it out. So I styled his hair in a manner where it was quick, it was nice, it was quick, and given his attention span, I wanted to ensure that he wasn't sitting long. So I styled him in. He had two plaits here, one here to conceal the spot, and then another one below that. Or he might have had two, one, and then two below that. Not real sure. But nonetheless, we styled his hair, and I talked to them. And I shared with them, I said, from a professional standpoint, and knowing his temperament, to make it easy for him, because they were also combing his hair, you know, trying to maintain it and style it and do those different things. Mom wanted to keep it long, and Dad was kind of, you know, thinking, I think we should, you know, cut it. But nonetheless, after talking with them and explaining, they agreed to cut his hair. So his first cut, by this time I had gotten the weighted cape. So this is part of people remember the experience long after the service. Okay, so I'm giving you a real live example here. So got the weighted cape, sat him down, took care of him. At this time I didn't have those clippers, so I used my Andes detachable clippers, because if any of you know, on the detachable clippers you can adjust the speed. So in adjusting the speed on the detachable clippers, the motor is either quieter or louder, depending on, you know, how high you have it. But long story short, we got through that process. He sat, was amazed. I shared with his parents, okay, we might not be able to give him the best lineup at this point, because we were still introducing him to the clippers and getting his hair cut. But nonetheless, it worked out. Next time he came, sat in the chair, wore the cape, had his sensory toys up next to him, no problem. His dad was so amazed at that second, well, technically it was the third setting. He cried. I cried, because I looked at the work that I put in to make the experience as positive, as supportive, as cohesive, as relaxing as I possibly could. And the results of it, I was just shocked. So now this same young man, when he gets the message, we're going to see Miss Yah-Tay, he is ready. Dad says he talks about it in school and everything. But let's move on. Teenagers who feel heard. I have teenagers who sit with me, young adults who sit with me. We conversate. I check in with them. I follow up with them. Because of my life coaching background and had my 20 plus years of working with children, it's natural for me to do that. So checking in with them, senior clients who enjoy conversation. I say I have an old spirit because I enjoy talking. Hence, Female Barber Talk with Yah-Tay. Well, anyway, my conversations that I have with my seniors, not just my seniors, but all of my clients. I'm always checking in and conversating with them. Let's see. Wike says, Jason is such a cute kid. I'm glad he has you to help him fill in the love with his hair. Me too. A lot of my clients say that, and I'm so grateful to be privy to serve them. And if y'all watch my stories, I talked about it last night because I had a situation, and I'm gonna talk about that in this podcast too. So I also bring up my neurodivergent clients who they feel safe and accepted. You know, their needs are met. The slightest change, I'll give an example. I have a young adult client who, when I go to oil her scalp, I used to take the bottle, take the nozzle, and guide it down the section. She don't like the feel of that. So I switched to pomade. She didn't like that. So we switched back to the oil. But now she asked me to place it on my finger. So I take the nozzle, place it on my finger, and then rub it down the section that I have exposed to, you put the oil on. So whatever it takes for my clients, for them to feel safe, feel accepted, feel like they're being heard, I'm down for it. I'm down for it. So the next thing, first time clients who feel welcome. So I talked about this in my stories yesterday. This ties into something that happened as recently as yesterday. So I had a new client. We had been communicating via email, text, for a few months. We finally schedules coordinated where she can come and have her first initial consultation and then get the service in. So this particular service normally doesn't take that long, but however, I set up the time so that I could have the time with her. In talking with her when she came in, of course, I introduced myself. She introduced herself. I refreshed on the conversation that we've been having via email and text. We talked about her hair goals, some of the challenges she's having, some of the things that she's doing, reshaping the hair, all of those different things. So in introducing myself, I recapped that. And then I talked a little more in depth about who I am, how I got into it, and why I'm in it. And one thing I said to her is more than hair. It's more than hair for me. So as she was talking about her hair goals, I was prepping to give her an example of what she's described to me. I was prepping to share that with her. I was prepping to share an example of someone who was in a similar situation of what she's looking to do and what this other young lady has been experiencing by utilizing my service for the last 4 months, because she's been to see me 4 times and she come religiously every 4 weeks. She makes her appointment before she leaves. So LaDosha, I'm getting better at rebooking. I'm working on that, rebooking. Love and compassion are definitely must in our industry. It is. And it's something that I genuinely have. I'm really, I love what I do. I love my clients, and yeah, so she could see that. So nonetheless, I'm preparing to share with her images of this individual. And guess what she tells me, y'all? She says, that's who referred me. And I was taken aback. I was like, wow, because I did not know. And here in that moment, what I shared with her, the integrity, the conversation, my position, just who I am. I know she's already heard it from the person that referred her, but the mere fact that she allowed me to give that spiel per se, and then open up and say, that's who referred me. I had no clue. And the young lady was like, well, why don't you just go and tell her? She said, no, I want to wait till I see her in person and let her know that you referred me. So in that moment, it gives me chills. In that moment, I felt like I was solid. I already knew that I was solid. You know, how I conduct business, how I interact, my professionalism, my mannerism, you know, all of that. I just felt like, Yah-Tay, you solid. Because she just sat there, listened to everything. And when I prepared to show her the images, she was like, oh, I want to tell you, such and such referred me. And I was like, really? That's who picture I was getting ready to share with you. And in having that conversation, y'all, it opened up. When I talked about feel safe and accepted, this client ended up sharing stuff that you normally don't share or would share with your first encounter with someone. So that spoke volumes about who I am as an individual, how I present myself as a professional, and her feeling safe, secure, feeling validated, feeling heard. And what I did with this particular consultation and service, every step that I made, every move that I made, everything that I was doing, I was educating, I was reaffirming, I was ensuring, I was answering questions, I was active listening to her. So it took some time, but I made the time and I set aside the time so that she had the experience. And guess what, y'all? And then I'm gonna go into the next point. Guess what I later found, what I found out? It was her first experience having a professional do her hair. Talk about God. Talk about position. Talk about, I won't say weight in the from the standpoint of it was heavy, but talk about the responsibility. I was like, wow, for her first experience, y'all, not only did she, of course, she would take care, satisfy the bill, but she tipped handsomely. And I was like, wow, wow. And told me if she had more on her, she would give it to me too. And I was like, you're okay. The tip and the blessing is you took her word to come to me. And the mere fact that you opened up and shared some things with me, that's my blessing. And I told her, because I didn't want to assume, should you decide to come back, I'm available. But I told her, I said, I'm going to check on you later in the week. I'm going to check on you. So be expecting a message from me, because I do that with my clients. I got to make sure they get home safe. I check in with them. You know, I'm in communication, birthdays, graduations, whatever it is, I'm on it, because that's just the type of person that I am. Let's see. Let's get into this next one. So I've kind of talked about personal reflections, but some of my most meaningful moments haven't been about hair at all. As y'all can see with my few examples with this particular topic, how people remember the experience long after the service. They've been about the confidence that I've instilled and supported my clients with, and what they've given me, the encouragement and what I've provided them, as well as what they've provided me, and also the connection. If you listen to my stories, y'all have heard this, but anyway, I'm gonna repeat it. So the connections. My clients are so connected, so protective. And I talk about this one. I ain't gonna say her name, but I'm gonna tell y'all. So I have this one client, my lock client. When she goes out, especially after she's gotten her hair freshly done, and she gets compliments, if she don't get a good vibe from the person, once she look them up and down, and this her telling me this, y'all. She look them up and down, and she don't get a good vibe about them, she'll tell them, oh, she's booked. She's not accepting any more clients. And I'm like, oh my God, for real? She's like, yes. So my clients, they look out for me. They protect me. They support me. I love my clients. My youngest to my oldest, I absolutely love my clients. And I'm grateful that not only do they trust me with their hair care needs, they trust me with their conversations, they trust me with just serving them. They trust me with serving them. So the question that I want to ask the audience before we get into the next point is, tell me about a service experience you'll never forget and why. It could be anything. Doesn't necessarily have to be hair. Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments for me, all right? So now on to the third point that I want to share with you. Growth happens. This is the third point. Growth happens when you leave your comfort zone. I got to tell y'all, I haven't always willingly left my comfort zone. Sometimes God has allowed situations to happen to make me leave my comfort zone. Yeah, but I'm learning more and more to step out, even at my age, you know, even where I am, I'm learning more and more to get out of those comfort zones. But nonetheless, in sharing about comfort zones, and how growth happens when you leave those comfort zones. Many of our biggest opportunities happen when we decide to step outside what's familiar. Growth often feels uncomfortable, but before it feels rewarding. I got to tell y'all, I made a decision last year, and one, because a scenario was presented to me and I had to stand on my principle about this particular thing and move forward. I don't want to discuss it just yet because I'm going to have some conversations with that in salon and beauty industry talk with Regina. We're starting to do that once a month. We're going to have that conversation. But I'm sharing with you all, one, because it popped to my head. But that was a situation where I should have been moved, but I didn't move because I had some personal things going on and I just felt like it wasn't the right time. But when this situation presented itself to make me choose, and I chose me and my health and the things that I was doing, I said, you know what? This is it. This is it. Because it's about me doing what I need to do for myself and taking care of me, even though I'm meeting my obligations and doing what I'm supposed to do. I just got to step out there. LaDosha says here, at my first time at the hair salon was when I graduated from college. The stylist overprocessed my hair and the top fell out. I wore my graduation cap through the event, the party, and several days later. Wow. LaDosha, you know about my hair experience. When that happened to me, I wore head wraps for a long time. I wear them now occasionally, but I don't have enough hair to hold them up. But I'm going to come on with a head wrap on one day, y'all, because I can wrap a head wrap. Anyway, I feel you on that one. I feel you. LaDosha also says, I wasn't even mad. She paid for me to go someplace else to fix it. Wow. See, that's what I call integrity. She made sure you got what you needed. In my case, I didn't hear from the chick. Yeah, I ain't hear from her. But anywho, we're talking about growth happens when you leave your comfort zone. And I just shared with you a scenario where I had to make a choice, which forced me out of my comfort zone, what was familiar, because I was going through some stuff and didn't really want to move just yet, knowing that I should have been moved, but I hadn't moved. Anyway, Ladosha says we're friends till this very day. See that? That's what is that communication, that trust. Obviously, there's some love there. You know, for that have happened, and I'm grateful that y'all were able to keep that relationship alive despite the challenges. And I know it's not always the case, because I have a few that I've just had to, you know what, I love you, I respect you, but you just got to stay over there and I'm gonna stay over here. I still wish you well, I still want the best for you, but we gonna leave it at that. We gonna leave it at that. WK says, oh wow, Ladosha, I would have been so sad. I know, on such an important day like that too. WK, I get it. I get it. So back to point number 3, and when we're talking about our biggest opportunities happen, I will say this had to do with the barbershop and my move. When I tell y'all the opportunities that have availed themselves, now that's not to say I've still had some challenges, I've still gone through some things, I've still had some experiences, but let me tell you, the opportunities that I've had, especially here in the last month, had I still been in that space, I would have never been able to have these opportunities. Let's know, achieve the things that I've achieved in the last year. Example, well, I'm going to be honest. My barber instructor license, with everything that I was going through, even though I became eligible June of last year, I was pushing it back not to take it. I was pushing it back because emotionally and mentally, I felt like I was not ready. I felt like I wasn't ready. And my instructor was over at the house and she said, I'm going to pay for it. And I was like, no, I got it. That was the push to say, go ahead and do it. So I sat right there that night, paid for, well, no, I take that back. I paid for it a couple days later and I set it up to take care of it. But I bring that up because I was pushing that back. Well, by the end of last year, I had obtained my barber instructor license, which I was going to push that back. Growth happens out of your comfort when you leave your comfort zone. So I had to leave my comfort zone, or I won't necessarily say comfort zone, but the zone that I was in emotionally, still feeling hurt, the loss of my dad, you know, what I was going through at the time. And that's coming, y'all. It's coming. But I had to do it. But had I not moved, had I not stood up for myself, guess what? I would have still been in that situation. But the things that I've accomplished between then and now, it's a lot. And some things I'm not speaking on just yet because the ink ain't dried. So I'm waiting for the ink to dry before I speak on it. But nonetheless, attending, like me, I attended my first trade show. I got to meet individuals whom I had only been in conversation with. Example, Kate, the young lady who started the Sensory Safe Solution. I showed y'all her picture last time. I don't think I have it up, but Kate, I met Kate when I went. So I stepped outside and went to a show that I don't normally go to. I've never been to Orlando Premiere because I normally go to anything dealing with natural hair. So the World Natural Hair Show that is put on by Talia Wajid, I've attended that numerous years. I've been going there since 2010 to be exact. But I had never gone to anything outside of natural hair shows and expos because That's my lane. That's my expertise. But in opening up and going to Premier Orlando, where you have all individuals from the beauty and beauty industry as a whole, the barbers, the nail techs, the estheticians, everybody is there. I got a chance to meet her. I got a chance to meet Tyrone Sharp. Don't kill me. A Razor Sharp podcast. I got a chance to meet him. I got Lacey. I got a chance to meet Lacey, the lady barber. We've been in conversation on the phone. I actually won that $500 gift basket, y'all. If you haven't seen it, episode number 75. Check that out. You'll see the gift basket. I did an unboxing. But I got a chance to see her taking a class outside of my specialty. I do a lot of that in terms of actually I'm working with a guy, some financial stuff. He's going to be on next Sunday. I'm working on that and seeing for us to do some things with that. Speaking in front of groups. I had a speaking engagement last month in May, the first part of May, where I spoke to some elementary school students. I've been on the circuit previously, long time ago when I was a prevention and outreach educator for the YWCA of Tampa Bay. I did a lot of speaking in front of groups, teens, youth, parents, but I had gotten away from it, over the years. Starting a podcast. Y'all remember when I started? Had been sitting on the idea, stepping outside of my comfort zone, big time. Not that I was afraid to speak or to talk. I was concerned about other stuff. Am I going to be able to get somebody on? What am I going to talk about? All of those things. What equipment do I need? What the space got to look like, the backdrop, and all of those things. Because if you know me, y'all know when I do stuff, I try to do it to the best of my ability. I'm gonna just say that. So I had to step outside of my comfort zone and work with what I have as I'm building and expanding with this. Let's see. LaDosha says it wasn't intentional. She did not mean to. It was a mistake. Okay, that's even better. So she owned up to it, made it right, and look where the relationship is. Y'all are still best friends to the day. Premier is pretty good. It is. It was a little overwhelming because there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of people coming at you trying to give you stuff, offer you things. I felt like I shared this. My kids who have sensory concerns, because it was just a lot at one time, and it was my first time there. But I handle it. I handle it. Becoming an educator. I've always loved teaching. I've always been in a position to share and provide instruction. But now as a barber instructor, it's a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level that I'm excited about. And investing in myself professionally. Right now, I've shared this before, as a barber stylist, a master hair care professional in the state of South Carolina, and even barbers, we're not required to do continuing ed. Why that is so, I don't know. It might be changing because the boards are maybe merging. I pray that it doesn't. I think that our entities should stay separate. However, that is something that's in the works. But nonetheless, back to investing in yourself, it's a must. Because not only am I investing in myself to know more, have more exposure, it also allows me to bring that knowledge to my clients, share with other professionals, just be well-rounded. And I enjoy being well-rounded from that perspective. So a personal reflection here. Premier Orlando, it reminded me that growth isn't just about learning something new. I was able to connect, see stuff, get exposure into other areas within the beauty industry, see what they're doing, how they're doing it, those things. And also my love for interior design. I also looked at it from that perspective, how a booth set up, traffic flow, presentation. I looked at all of that, y'all. I really did. But sometimes it's about confirming you're already moving in the right direction. So when going, I got confirmations from different areas that I'm moving in the right direction. I'm getting there. I'm going. I'm headed somewhere. So the question that I want to ask my audience, and you feel free to put it in the comments, what is something you've done recently that pushed you outside of your comfort zone? Remember, growth happens when you leave your comfort zone. All right? Growth happens when you leave your comfort zone. And I've shared with you my experience in the last May, June, the last 13 months, how I've had a lot of growth in that, the ups and downs and the highs and lows of what I've experienced through these changes. But I've also experienced a lot of growth because some of those things push me outside of my comfort zone. Yeah. And some things I've actually stepped outside of my comfort zone, not by a situation or a circumstance pushing me, but me stepping out on faith and believing that this is my next step, and things kind of opening up to the point where I had to make a choice and do the pros and cons of two opportunities. And I'll share that much later down the line, because the ink and what is taking place with the experience, I'm still taking it in, and also, making these adjustments in preparation for it. So y'all remember that, okay? And we're going to talk about that. So LaDosha says, they pushed me to much separatism, anti-chemical, and being an auto addict. Okay, auto addict. They pushed no regulations, which resulted in no education. Okay, let me go back. I missed this one. LaDosha says, I hate to say it, but the natural hair community is solely to blame for the demise of our industry. Well, when I came in around, I was more of a spectator. I became a quote unquote natural hair advocate as Miss Pro Natural. When all of it was I guess on the rise. 2010, which was my first time at the World Natural Hair Show. A lot of products were coming out then. A lot of products. I was learning about who's who in the industry, that type of thing. But I get what you're saying. I can see that now as a professional barber stylist. I can see the difference. Even though my lane is still Afro hair care. That's my lane. That's it. And the reason why I choose that, my tagline, a motto from my meetup group was Real Roots Naturals, embrace your natural hair and celebrate your real roots. With real roots love and real roots pride. My desire was for us to embrace what God has naturally given us. I don't have no problem with whoever want to do whatever with their hair. But for those who want to embrace and wear their natural hair, that's my community. That's my lane. And I wanted to empower them with that. And now that I'm a professional in the industry, I can service them and help them to love their hair and embrace their natural hair, their textured hair, Afro hair. I can support them with that. What else LaDosha says here? What pushed me out of the comfort zone is letting go of sugar. So far, so good. I'm still working on that. Me and my gummy lifesavers, I'm working on it, LaDosha. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Yeah, that's big though. And especially as you get older, you really got to change a lot of stuff. But she also says, and in the industry, ignore the technology that fueled it. Yes, there's a lot of things that has transpired, has happened. I think we backtracking in some cases. And I know that you and Cheryl are doing an exceptional job with putting out the science and the foundation and the fundamentals of not just Afro textured hair, but things dealing with the industry in general. So I'm thankful that I'm in at this time, and my heart is open where I can make the necessary adjustments. And do know I got that key on wash and shampoo, but I'm gonna still hang on to my mom. You wash hair, shampoo, clothes, but I get the concept. I get it. I get it. I understand. So to continue with the question, before I get into this next point, do ask yourself, what is something you've done recently that pushed you out of your comfort zone? And I've shared with you all some things, that situations that pushed me out, and some things that I stepped out of my comfort zone and stepping out in faith and pursuing some things to affirm that this is the next phase or the next step that I'm to venture into. So with the next point that I want to get into, we are going to, let me just remove this. We're going to talk about me, per se. Me, ain't no per se. Me. She had big dreams then. She had big dreams then. So that's a picture of me. I think I was in the 2nd or 3rd grade. She has even bigger purpose now. So with this, sometimes we spend so much time chasing the next goal that we forget to acknowledge how far we've come. And I want to share, I want to stop before I finish the caption for this. I'm speaking to me on this. We spend so much time chasing the next goal, and mine wasn't necessarily about chasing the next goal as much as it was what life was presenting to me at that time. You know, being the oldest of 3 girls after losing my mom, it's like high school, college, what's next? What do I got to do to get me to the next thing? What do I got to do to move me on or move me forward? So I wasn't really, I won't say goals per se. Now, I did have some goals. I wanted to get my education. I wanted to do certain things. I wanted to buy a new car. I wanted to, do certain things. But in general, it was about where was I at this point in my life? What do I need to do to move to this next phase? So example, when I was leaving high school, I got a basketball scholarship to go to school. You and Brandon, y'all are cuteness. Oh, thank you. How cute. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So in leaving high school, what made me decide on what college I would go to was based on the distance I would be away from my siblings. So I had an opportunity to go to some 4-year schools, but I chose to go to a 2-year school because it was 30 minutes away. I literally could cross the bridge and get home in no time if to see my siblings. So that was the choice that I made. And then after those 2 years, because I lost my mom 10th grade year. So 11th and 12th grade year, I was with them. And then the first 2 years of my junior college, I was still, still close by. And then I eventually went off to a 4-year institute at Valdosta State College. I think it's it was VSC then, it's VSU now. But nonetheless, that's an example of life, a choice, making a decision. Yes, I said, okay, I finished high school, but then it was on to the next thing. Then when I finished college, it was on to the next thing. It was on to the next thing. So I didn't celebrate per se. And, I was chasing. I was going from one life incident to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. So with that, the younger version of ourselves had dreams, had hopes and expectations. Sometimes some things happen unexpectedly as planned. Y'all got it? It happens. It happened to me. If it ain't happened to you, it's gonna happen to you. Many things didn't, but often life has a way of preparing us for a purpose that is bigger than anything we originally imagined. I'll give y'all an example. Me being a barber, stylist, master hair care professional at this time in my life, I feel like I'm positioned right. Oftentimes, individuals take the class or take the course in high school and they go right into it. There's nothing wrong with it. There's some advantages and there's also some disadvantages. If you're coming into it 18, 19, 20 years old, oftentimes with that mindset, you haven't had much exposure, you haven't lived a whole lot, you haven't seen a whole lot, meaning outside your community walls, the exposure there. So your mindset is, the vision is small. I'm just going to say that. And that's not to say it grows and it expands over time. I'm just using this as an example to share my scenario and how I believe that everything that has happened has prepared me for this time. So I shared with you all that I've been to college, right? I've shared with you all that I've been in the military, right? I've shared with you all that I've had a number of jobs. I've had other professions. I've worked in the interior design field. I am a degreed interior designer, even though I didn't become licensed. And that's a whole nother story. I won't tell you why, but yeah, it's a whole nother story. I didn't pursue my license because of a situation that happened that discouraged me younger, and I just gave it up altogether. But nonetheless, I've had exposure in the interior design field. So I've done a number of different things. I've also worked with children 20 plus years. I've been a federal employee. I've worked a nonprofit. So in saying those things, now that I'm a barber stylist, master hair care professional, all of those skills, my work in the community, my, work dealing with children, going into school, speaking, and being a substitute teacher, 2 states, 3 different counties. All of that plays into what I am doing now, because I can speak, I can talk, I can communicate, I can share, I can be on the same page, whether it's with my youngest, my teenager, my young adult, my elderly client. I feel like, but beforehand, I didn't see that. And I share this with you, and I think I shared this with on another podcast. I have a girlfriend. Her name is Catherine Weaver. She owns Uniquely Original Art Studio in our hometown. I remember when I first met her, in the community. She was doing some art stuff, a presentation in the community. And I was out meeting individuals, getting to know the community so that I'll know who I can go in and talk to, which group of kids, so on and so forth. And we were just talking. We were just talking. And I was telling her a little bit about my background as she was getting to know me and I was getting to know her. And she said, you know, it's like your life is like a canvas. And you've done this and you've done that, and you're going to go on to do some other things. She said, but in the end, it's going to come together like a beautiful picture. And she doesn't know this. And I'm going to actually pick up the phone and call her because I feel that now. I feel like everything that I've gone through and experienced professionally and personally has prepared me to do what I'm doing now and what the doors that God is opening up as well. My work with children, my interior design, I still use those principles. You know, my clients talk about how my station look and how it's set up, you know, things along those lines. So everything that I've experienced has put me in a position, even my college work, coming back around to a vocational. I can talk with my high school students, my middle school students about if they want to go to college or don't want to go to college, if they want to go in the military or don't want to go in the military, all of those things. And the choice of, well, if I want to do a vocation and then do that and then decide where I want to go to school or whatever it is, God has allowed me to go through these different things so that I can be a resource to them, personal experience to share with them. I'm going to give y'all another example. I had a young man that I cut. Family, well, they are already overseas now. The young man didn't want to go. So I shared with him a scenario that happened to me in my travel to Orlando. And I told him, had I made the decision not to go, I would have never got a hold of those clippers. I would have never got a chance to get those clippers. Not only did I was able to take and put the clippers in his hand and he turn them on and make the connection, I was able to share with him, had I not gone, I would have had to pre-order them. They did the initial release of them at Premier Orlando. Let me go in. We got some comments here. Hold on. Let me show the comments. Wike says, life definitely can be humbling. It's good to always have a backup plan. Yes. Wike says, smart lady. Thank you. Wike says, words of affirmation. I am so glad you told, she told you those lovely words. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Me too. And I'm going to call her and speak to her and let her know about it. But in that, I shared that scenario with the young man, was able to tell him, had I decided not to go, I would have missed the opportunity to be one of many who were at the show to own a pair of those clippers and not having to pre-order them. And not only did I get one pair, I showed him the second pair. I got two. And I said, how this helps me, now I can service my clients with clippers that have sensory neurodivergent or you know, those concerns. I can service them with no problem because somebody has created a solution to a problem. But I had to go. So what I ask him to do for me is find something, research where he's going, find something that he can do. And then when he gets back, I want him to share his experience with me. I also ask him to find out how to say my name in that language too. So that was the task with that. So back to she had a big dream then. She's been, and even she has an even bigger purpose now. So I had dreams then. I understand the purpose now. And it's not that it's a finalized purpose, because the purpose continues to evolve as I move into different aspects of where God is leading me. More purpose is being exposed, so it's becoming bigger. But nonetheless, as I was saying, the younger version of ourselves had dream, hopes, and expectations. Some things happen as exactly as planned. Many didn't. But oftentimes life has a way of preparing us for a purpose that's bigger than anything we originally imagined. I know I repeated that, but I thought it was great to reshare, because I'm in that moment right now. And it's not finalized. It's not finalized. So some examples. A little girl who loved helping people eventually became an educator. I enjoyed helping people. That little girl was me. I enjoyed helping people. You know, I still do enjoy helping people. Now I'm discerning, where I'm not helping to the detriment of myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not casting my pearls before swines, but I'm still a helper. I still enjoy that. The person who experienced challenges learn how to encourage others through theirs. Even in my challenges, I still find a way to not only encourage myself, but encourage others as well. This barber has become a mentor. And even in this next phase, I'll have an expanded reach on mentorship. This stylist is an advocate. I'm an advocate for natural hair. I want those who choose to embrace their natural hair, their Afro texture hair, to celebrate it and wear it with pride. How I help them, I show them styles. I share with them things that complement and fit their facial features and structures. I support them with caring for it at home, and even making adjustments to, I take care of my clients. I'm going to just say that. I'll leave it at that. And the professional become a voice for children, families, and neurodivergent individuals. I'm a voice. I'm a voice. Oftentimes I may be a voice communicating with them, or the voice that's being listened to. I'm listening, or I might be the voice that's communicating, getting something through that the parent isn't actually able to get through, where they use me to have that conversation or reinforce something or to check in. So I'm that professional, and then the dream is continue to evolve into, it's just continuing to evolve in a mission, So it's a great thing. It's a great thing. So that little girl it had big dreams. I still have big dreams, and the purpose is growing. It is becoming bigger, and your purpose should grow and become bigger as well as you continue to move forward in the dreams and the things that you have for yourself. I read that. I read it. So when I look back at my younger self, I don't see someone who knew exactly where they were going. I shared with you all, I left high school. I was trying to make it to the next step. Let me get an education, because then they were pushing education. I loved hair and desired to do it, but at the time I was finishing, I was thinking I got to get the education. I got to get a degree, and look where I am now. Yes, I've utilized and used them, and in some cases I still use my education. However, I'm in a vocation now, you know. So I and sometimes I still don't know where I'm going. I'm just putting one foot in front of the other, and praying about it and putting it before God, and asking for signs to make sure I'm headed in the right direction. But as I said, that younger girl back then didn't know exactly where she was going. I was going, okay, this is the next step. So I'm gonna do this. And then when that step was done, okay, what's ahead? Then when that was done, what's next? So it was kind of like that. And I'm going to throw this in here. I talk about it in my book, A Heritage of Hair. If you don't have it, scan the QR code. If you're local, I have some on hand. If you have it and you don't have your official seal for it being an award-winning book, reach out to me. I can get it to you and I'll sign it for you. So my question for you with this fourth topic is, what would your younger self be most proud of if they could see you today? What will your younger self be most proud of? So in thinking about that, I want to share with you all that my journey thus far has shaped me. The lessons have strengthened me, and they're still strengthening me because I'm still learning and gleaming from many of those lessons. One, because I don't want to repeat some of them. And two, the strength is helping me to continue to move forward. But all in all the purpose still drives me. It still pushes me to do what I'm doing, even in this new phase of my career. But real talk, I put that up. Let's talk real talk. Success isn't always becoming who you thought you would be. Sometimes it's becoming who you were meant to be. I thought a lot of things. I thought I'd be a designer, a world famous interior designer. I thought I'd be, just kid stuff. I thought one time I wanted to be, oh man, it's so many things, y'all. But be that as it may, I'm still becoming, and I'm enjoying this process, and I'm looking at it through a different lens, especially with the passing of my dad. It's something about losing both of your parents, or not being with both of your parents, that gives you, or it has given me a new perspective, made me look at things different. What does success mean to me? What is the American dream for me? Not what they project the American dream to be, but what does that mean for me? What does success mean to me, for me? Those things. That dream gets you started, the purpose keeps you going, and the legacy is built one decision, one lesson, and one act of service at a time. And that's what I'm doing. I'm building one decision, one lesson, and one act of service at a time, maybe multiple acts of service at a time. So that's real talk, y'all. Real talk. It doesn't always, it's not always becoming who you thought you would be. It's about who you're becoming. So the dream gets you started. The purpose keeps you going. The legacy is built one decision, one lesson, and one act of service at a time. Success isn't always becoming who you are, who you thought you would be. All right. Remember that it's not always becoming who you thought you would be, but it's becoming who you were meant to be. It was becoming who you were meant to be. So in closing, none of us have all the answers. None of us have all the answers. Because I'm going to tell you, if I had all the answers, I wouldn't have went through some of the things that I've gone through. I wouldn't have experienced some of the things that I've experienced. But because I don't have all the answer, I've had to go through life and go through things, and I'm going to continue to go through life and go through things until such time, until it's my time to go. But we don't have all the answers. We're all learning. And I would hope that you'll continue to learn, because that's how you continue to grow and evolve. All right. And we're growing. We're continuing to grow. Even as adults, we grow. I hope that we would grow. All right. I don't want to be the same person that I was last year or 10 years ago. That doesn't show growth and maturity. You know, there's still some things I got to work on, but I'm growing. I'm growing. And every experience, good or bad, has something to teach us. I've shared with you all about some of my bad experiences or challenging experiences, and what that has taught me and how that has played into where I am today. Yah-Tay says here, what a great discussion. You're right. We don't have all the answers. We don't. And I'm going to tell you, Yah-Tay, I got to tell myself that too. I don't have all the answers. No, you're not going to know everything. Just put one foot in front of the other. Like driving, especially when you're driving at night. You only can see as far as your headlights are lighting up the street. And as you move forward, your headlights continue to light the way to get you through that darkness. And darkness isn't necessarily a bad thing. It could be the darkness of transition out of one situation into something else, transitioning out of one career into another career. You don't see everything. You just know this is the next step you're supposed to be taking in that direction for this next move. So the lights, your headlights, represent as you continue to move, the way will be lit. And I'm speaking to myself too, because I'm going through some stuff right now that I'm like, oh no, God, I don't know. But I'm still walking, and I'm still moving, and I'm still praying, and I'm still, doing what I can to prep. So as I mentioned, every experience, good or bad, has something to teach us. I hope you learn from the good and the bad, get the lessons from the good and the bad, because it has something to teach us. The person you are today is the result of the lessons you didn't know you needed when they first showed up. I bumped my head a few times, I still have to remind myself, remember, if you was in my stories, remember I shared this again. I'm going to share this. So my dad used to say, you should have it. It's best to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So y'all know, as a substitute teacher, not having my teacher certification is the difference, not only in how you're classified, but also how you're paid, your pay scale. So I'm looking to get certified, right? Here's the thing. Some years ago, and I'm gonna close it out. But this is yet another point about the person you are today is the result of the lessons you didn't know you needed when they first showed up. Now, my dad used to tell me this, but I'd be like, oh, okay, not really fully understanding the need it and have it than to have it. Wait, have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Because he would say it a lot when I was young. So here recently, I've been working on my teaching certification, more specifically the accelerated pathway program, because of my specialty in the industry. So taking my time, being in the industry, get my references so that I can become a certified teacher with the Department of Education. Well, years ago, I'm even ashamed to say the years, but I'm going to say it. November 11th of next year will be 10 years that I had this opportunity. But because Yah-Tay didn't want to teach the subject that my master's degree offered me the opportunity to teach, which was keyboarding and business, I didn't want to teach that. So therefore, I didn't follow through with getting the certification done, paying for the application and doing all of that stuff needed to be done to get it done. Here, now I want to go to the next level and teaching in the school system, not just being an educator. Guess what Yah-Tay got to do? I got to get that teacher certification done. So what I say to our young people, like my dad told me when I was younger, is best to need it, have it, and not need it, than need it and not have it. So where I could have gotten it and decided, well, I'm not going to teach, but I still would have had it. But I decided I don't want to do that, so therefore I'm not going to get it. Here, almost 10 years later, I need that certification to elevate to the next level and be recognized. So here we are. We doing it. Let's see what WK says. Great words to follow, Yah-Tay. Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate it. So, you know, that's something that my dad shared with me, and I heard his voice, not to be graphic or vivid, but oftentimes I get my inspiration, things hit me when I'm showering. It's something about the water. But nonetheless, I heard his voice clearly say, it's best to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. He didn't say, I told you so. He didn't say none of that. It was just that phrase. And I said, Dad, I get it. I get what you were saying, because this incident applies, and it makes that phrase or that parable he was sharing with me live and understandable. I get it. But I was just like, okay, Dad, give me some words. But I will tell y'all one thing that I do. I'll fill up at a half a tank. I always fill up at a half a tank before it get to a half, especially this day and age with the gas prices. Anywho, let's close it out. So once again, none of us have all the answers. We're learning, we're growing, and every experience, good, bad, or indifference, has something to teach us, providing that you get the lesson. Or you're open to the lesson. The person you are today is the result of lessons you didn't know you needed when they first showed up. So when my dad said that, I didn't know I need it now, but I get it. And moving forward, I'm going to know what it means. So when the situation presents itself, I'll know how to handle it and what to do with it. And lastly, don't waste the lesson. Use it, share it, pass it on. I always say teach, share, give. Teach what you know, share what you have, give what you can. So thank you all for joining me for another episode of Female Barber Talk. I know I got off my series that I'm doing, Think Like a Barber. We're going to be back on it in the coming months. I got a couple of guest speakers coming on. I'm working on getting more individuals on. If you're someone that desired to be on, just hit me up, let me know. We can talk about it. If today's conversation spoke to you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please share them in the comments. What one life lesson, barbering, business, or leadership has taught you that you wish you had learned sooner? I just shared with y'all something that I wish I had took the lesson sooner, with the phrase that my dad was saying. it's best to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So had I followed through with my SCDOE teaching certification back in November of 2017, I wouldn't be trying to go through that process now. But here's the good thing. I got all my documentation in. I got everything in. My transcripts have been sent over. I had to even call up. Well, call. Things have changed, so now I had to get my transcript sent. But everything is, I've gotten everything in. I'm just waiting on the evaluation now to see if I meet the requirements, and if so, what's my next step, that type of thing. WK says, thank you. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, WK. I appreciate you. As I said, thank you all for joining another session of Female Barber Talk with Yah-Tay. If today's conversation spoke to you, I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. Share with me what's one lesson, one life lesson, barbering, business, leadership, entrepreneurship, whatever it is that has taught you that you wish you learned sooner. Like I said, I shared with you all mine. Until next time, teach what you know, share what you have, give what you can. And I am Yah-Tay, and this has been another episode of Female Barber Talk with Yah-Tay. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on social media at Yah-Tay the Barber Stylist, as well as Talk with Yah-Tay. I'm on a few platforms that Talk with Yah-Tay. But that's all I have. Thank y'all for allowing me to be a part of your life at this moment. This has been episode 77. If I knew then what I know now, the lessons that change everything. So preferably, y'all have gleaned from this lesson. Thank y'all so much. Let's see. Ladosha says, take care, Ladosha. Take care, Ladosha. Take care, Sandra. Take care, WK. Thank you all for joining. Greatly appreciate it. I see you all on the next episode. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Naturals.